In the quiet marble halls of the world's central banks, a silent, coordinated movement is underway. It doesn't make the front pages of most newspapers, and it isn't discussed on the nightly news. But it is, without a doubt, the most important economic story of our time. While leaders and financial experts tell us to have faith in the global financial system, their actions tell a very different story. Behind the scenes, they are orchestrating the largest, fastest accumulation of physical gold in over half a century. This isn't a random diversification. It is a strategic exodus, a calculated escape from a system they know is on the verge of breaking. They are telling you one thing while doing the complete opposite. This is the story of the great gold rush of 2025. It is the story of de-dollarization. And it is the clearest signal yet that the blueprint of empire collapse is entering its final, chaotic stages. To understand the sheer scale of what is happening, we have to look at the numbers. In 2022, central banks around the globe bought a staggering 1,136 tons of gold. It was the highest level of annual buying since 1967. Then, in 2023, they did it again, buying another 1,037 tons. Back-to-back years of unprecedented accumulation. And the trend is only accelerating into 2024 and 2025. The question is, why? Why this sudden, desperate hunger for an ancient yellow metal? The answer is simple, and it is the same reason you are watching this video. They see the same writing on the wall that you do. They see the blueprint. They see the fatal flaw in the system that has been in place for the last 50 years. The unwavering dominance of the US dollar. For decades, the dollar has been the world's reserve currency, the anchor, the safe haven. But that anchor is coming loose, strained by a force that no government in history has ever been able to control: debt. The US national debt has surpassed a staggering $38 trillion, a figure so immense it's almost impossible to comprehend. It is a beast that now consumes $1 trillion every year in interest payments alone, soon to be more than the entire defense budget. This debt can never be repaid. It can only be managed. And for the last several decades, it has been managed with a single dangerous tool: the printing press. Since the financial crisis of 2008, and especially since the unprecedented printing of the 2020s, the Federal Reserve has created trillions upon trillions of dollars from thin air. This is the classic textbook definition of currency debasement. It is stage 4 in the blueprint of empire collapse. And as history has proven, without fail, stage 4 always leads to stage 5, inflation, and stage 6, a catastrophic loss of confidence. This is what the central banks of the world are seeing. They are not waiting for the collapse. They are preparing for it. And they are preparing by executing the greatest pivot to a hard asset that the world has seen in modern history. To understand their playbook, we must look at the last time this happened. We must look at the fall of the British Empire and the moment the global torch was passed to America. Before the US dollar, the British pound sterling was the undisputed king of global finance. It was the world's reserve currency, its value anchored to a fixed amount of gold. It was stable, trusted, and it financed the largest empire in human history. But 2 world wars shattered Britain's finances. The empire had bankrupted itself. Its national debt was astronomical, and its economy was in ruins. It had the prestige, but it no longer had the power to back its currency. The United States, by contrast, emerged from the war as the world's undisputed economic and military superpower. While the rest of the world was in ruins, America's industry was booming. And crucially, it held over 2/3 of the entire world's monetary gold in its vaults. In 1944, at a conference in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, the new global financial order was created. It was a deal made by America with the rest of the world. The deal was this: the US dollar would become the new world reserve currency. It would be the anchor. And the dollar would be, as they promised, As good as gold, because the U.S. guaranteed that any foreign central bank could exchange 35 U.S. dollars for 1 ounce of physical gold, anytime. All other currencies would then peg themselves to the dollar. The British pound was finished. Its reign was over. The torch had been passed. Britain was forced to accept a secondary role, its currency artificially propped up at a value it could no longer sustain. It was a public humiliation, a financial admission that its empire was over, and it was a direct consequence of its debt and the debasement of its currency during the wars. This moment in history is the single most important precedent for what is happening today, because now it is America that is the aging, debt-ridden empire, and it is the rest of the world that is looking for a new system. The central banks buying gold today are not just diversifying. They are following the exact playbook from Bretton Woods. They are preparing for a new system, and in that new system, the nations who hold the gold will be the ones who get to write the rules. So, who are these nations leading the charge? The number one buyer, by a massive margin, is China. The People's Bank of China has been on a relentless buying spree, officially adding hundreds of tons to its reserves. But the official numbers are a lie. It's an open secret among market analysts that China's true gold holdings are likely thousands of tons higher than what they publicly admit, held in various state-owned entities. China's motive is clear. It is America's primary economic and geopolitical rival. It understands that to challenge America's power, it must first challenge the power of the dollar. Every ounce of gold China buys is a step towards financial independence from the United States. The second major player is Russia. After the U.S. and its allies froze Russia's dollar reserves following the conflict in Ukraine, a powerful message was sent to the rest of the world. The dollar is not a neutral tool. It is a weapon, and it can be used against anyone who steps out of line. For countries like Russia, China, and others who do not align with U.S. foreign policy, holding dollars is no longer a sign of safety. It is a sign of vulnerability. Gold, held in their own vaults, cannot be frozen. It cannot be sanctioned. It is the ultimate financial shield in a world of geopolitical conflict. But it's not just America's rivals. Look at who else is buying. Turkey, India, Poland, Singapore. Nations all across the globe, from Eastern Europe to the Middle East to Southeast Asia, are all buying gold in record amounts. These are not foolish countries. Their central bankers are some of the most astute financial minds in the world. They are running the numbers. They are looking at America's debt trajectory. They are watching the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. And they have all come to the same silent conclusion. The long-term viability of the U.S. dollar as the world's primary reserve asset is in serious doubt. This movement is called De-Dollarization. It is the conscious, deliberate process of reducing dependence on the U.S. dollar. The gold rush is the most visible part of it, but it is happening on multiple fronts. For decades, the world ran on the petrodollar system, an agreement that oil would be priced and traded exclusively in U.S. dollars. This created a massive artificial demand for dollars, forcing every country to hold them to buy energy. Today, that system is fracturing. We are seeing major deals where oil is being sold from Russia to China in Chinese yuan, from Russia to India in Indian rupees. Saudi Arabia, the linchpin of the petrodollar system, is now openly discussing selling oil in other currencies. At the same time, the BRICS alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, now expanded to include major energy producers like Saudi Arabia, and the UAE is actively developing its own financial infrastructure. They are building payment systems to bypass the US-controlled SWIFT network. They are establishing new development banks. They are building the plumbing for a new post-dollar world. What we are witnessing is the great schism of the global financial system. The world is bifurcating into two distinct blocks. In one corner, you have the debt-based West, the United States, Europe, and Japan. Their power is based on their fiat currencies, the dollar, the euro, the yen, which are backed by nothing but the full faith and credit of governments that are drowning in debt. In the other corner, you have the emerging commodity-backed East, China, Russia, and the BRICS plus nations. Their strategy is to anchor their financial power not in promises, but in real, tangible things: gold, oil, gas, and the industrial capacity to produce actual goods. This is the great game of the 21st century. It is a battle between a system of debt and a system of tangible assets. And the central banks of the world are placing their bets. They are not selling all of their dollars at once. That would trigger the very collapse they are trying to prepare for. Instead, they are doing it slowly, quietly, systematically. They are selling their U.S. Treasury bonds, their claims on America's debt, and they are converting the proceeds into the one asset that has been the ultimate store of value for 5,000 years. They are buying gold. So what does this mean for you? It means you are living through one of the most significant financial shifts in human history. The transition from one global reserve currency to another has never been a peaceful, orderly process. The fall of the British pound was marked by 2 world wars and decades of economic pain. The end of the dollar's reign will be no different. It will be a period of immense volatility, instability, and chaos. And in that chaos, there will be the single greatest transfer of wealth we have ever seen. The powerful are preparing. They are not listening to what their own finance ministers and central bank chairs are saying in public. They are watching what they are doing in private. They see the blueprint: military overextension, unsustainable spending, currency debasement. The pattern is in its final stages. And so, they are quietly moving their wealth out of paper promises and into the one asset that cannot be printed, that cannot be debased, and that cannot be defaulted on. They are buying gold. This is the only signal you need to see. The canary in the coal mine is not just singing, it is screaming. The smartest money in the world is telling you, through their actions, that they no longer have full faith and credit in the US dollar. The question you have to ask yourself is, why should you? The choice is not between getting rich and staying where you are. The choice is between preserving what you have or watching it get debased into nothing by a system that has already entered its terminal phase. The blueprint is clear. The exodus has begun, and history has already written the final chapter. If you are ready to continue decoding the financial myths that shape our world, subscribe to Economythics and click the notification bell.